I'm Coral from the Relatable Homeschool Mom, and in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of what the Gentle and Classical curriculum is, how to get started using it, and also to help determine what is the best program to use with your child. And then I'm going to give you a bit of a preview on my iPad on how I go in and access all of the materials. So you'll get to see a peek of what the materials look like specifically in the Gentle and Classical Preschool version, and then how I organize it in my iPad. So first things first, what are the ages of your child? So if you have a young child in the 2.5 to 4 years old range, then you're going to use the Gentle and Classical Preschool program. And so that's really what it's targeted at, is that young preschooler. It is a really nice program to just get you started with just doing education with your child. It comes with a guide that has a weekly book list that you'll cover, and it's all around the alphabet. So it actually starts with the letter L, which seems weird, but it has to do with the handwriting without tears approach to learning how to interact with the alphabet. And so it goes in that order. So it starts with the letter L, and you're reading a book that starts with the letter L. You are also reading a couple of other books that relate to the alphabet. And then in the actual curriculum, you're going to get several other resources. You're going to get an art and music pack, and so you're interacting with different art and music throughout. You are also going to get a morning binder, and it comes with all sorts of worksheets that you can do with your child with dry erase markers. And then it has the memory statements, which is a big component of the program. And so then you practice reciting some of these memory statements related to initial beginning science concepts, character statements, catechism, and scripture, among some other things. And so that's really the preschool program in a nutshell. It's 26 weeks following one letter of the alphabet. So then the next program is the Gentle and Classical Primer curriculum. So that program is said to be for 5 to 6 year olds. I have heard of some people using it in the pre-K 4 years old range. So I am currently using that program with my son, who is 5. He's pretty early 5-year-old, and I am finding that it is exactly right for him. And so he he does love books, he does love to read books, but the stories are picking up pretty quickly. The first week was the Three Little Pigs story, so that was a little bit more manageable, and even my daughter, who is almost 3, was able to join in on that story and understand a lot of it. But then by the very next week and the week after, I just found that the stories were definitely a little bit more difficult, and I have lost my daughter's attention, which is why I'm actually going to be downloading the preschool files in this video, because I'm going to start using the program, the preschool version, with my daughter, because it's more catered to that age range. But what they call the Wonder Tales in the primer curriculum, that is what you're doing every single week. You're reading a Wonder Tale, and it might seem pre-K-ish in a way, like you're reading Beauty and the Beast, for example. And but for my son, he's loving the stories, but it is right in his sort of range of being able to understand just the materials. I'm noticing as I'm reading him the story, I'll ask some basic comprehension questions, and he's having a hard time answering those. And so I'm needing to go back and read some of the story again. And so it's definitely for him appropriate, but not too difficult either. He is loving the stories. The other thing in the primer program is you're really building on some of the theology. So they actually have this book called Theology that you are using, and the memory statements actually that you're going over relate to what you're studying in that book. So for example, this one is, in whose image are we made? We are made in the image of God. And I don't know about you, but if you are like me, I can barely understand what it really means to be made in the image of God. I know I probably should have a better understanding of what that means. So this book actually breaks it down really nicely to be able to explain it to your 5-year-old. And let me tell you, it is a difficult concept. And so I'm finding that although the Wonder Tale might seem a little bit younger, I'm really glad that I'm waiting until at this age, at 5 years old, just because these concepts are definitely challenging. The other component in the primer program is that you are going over manners and hygiene, in addition to the Wonder Tale and some other things. I'm not going to get into all of it, but we have the Everyday Graces book. And these are some really small, short stories that are related to manners and hygiene. And then again, you are going to have a memory statement, like this one is I do my chores, that relate to the story. Now again, the actual memory statement is very simple, and my daughter is able to recite these along with my son, and I think it's helping her learn these words as well in some of the beginning concepts. But the actual stories in this book are really right at the level of my son, and he's understanding the point for the most part, and we're able to connect it to his daily life, whereas it's definitely too advanced for my daughter who's almost 3. And then the other component, so you have the primer curriculum similar to the preschool curriculum, is you have these memory statements, you have books that you're reading, Bible, some other things as well. And then you have an art and music study as well, similar to the preschool program, but it's a little bit more. You're doing, especially I've noticed in comparing the two, you're doing a lot more with the music side of things. And so it's definitely a challenge, but it's also really fun for my son to learn some of the art. He is naturally gravitating towards the art to the point that even though I only bought the digital version and I'm not printing out all these posters of artwork, I did end up getting a book from the library for free called Vermeer, which is what you're studying for term 1. And he just absolutely loves this book, and he can't read any of it. I can barely read any of it and understand it. It is literally for adults who have a lot of background in art, but he likes to look through the pictures. And so that has been a way that we've kind of gotten away from having to just print everything out from this curriculum, but still study the art. Now, the music is much more difficult, at least in my experience with my son. We will listen to what we have to listen to, which is Bach, but then he tells me he would rather listen to Batman. So we're working on the music side of things, but it's all, an introduction at this point and just really trying to make it fun. And certainly his whole education is not, determined based on, whether he just loves Bach or not. So those two programs are really great, very similar. And I am going to be showing shortly how to access the materials on the digital side and how I organize it. The other thing I just wanted to say really quick is the science component. If you are interested in their science, I've downloaded all of those files as well, or I've purchased them. And those are just really great for all ages. They have it appropriate from, I would say, 3 on to even, I think it says on the website, like 4th or 5th grade. And so there's different levels of memory statements. There's different levels of binder and worksheet journaling based on the ages of your child. So those can work for all grades. And it really works nicely with the main programs, the preschool, the primer, and then what comes after primer is sequence 1. So just the way that it's scheduled and organized, they work really nicely together. Sequence 1 is for 1st to 2nd grade students. And so very, again, similar to what you're doing in preschool and primer, but you're adding history, a big history component to it. And then it encourages you to use the morning virtues, which is part of the program for older kids. And so they can start in the sequence 1 program, they could start using the morning virtues. So I am going to share my iPad screen, and I'm going to walk you through what I do to get started using the program, and I'm going to be using the Gentle and Classical Preschool program to show you. I'm going to get started right here from the Gentle and Classical website. You should have already created an account in order to purchase your materials. Once it's purchased, you go to this little person icon here in the top right hand corner. And if you scroll down to My Orders, you will see all of your orders. For me, I have several orders of digital files that I bought all at the same time because they were running a special, so I went ahead and bought all of them. But I'm going to be focusing on this Gentle and Classical Preschool bundle. You will actually just press download. Don't do what I just did of clicking into it, because that clicks into the product itself. So I press download. Now I can see 3 orders because I ordered all of them at the same time, but I just want to focus on downloading the Gentle and Classical Preschool bundle because that's what I'm going to be using soon with my daughter. Now I press download. Okay. And then it comes up down below for me, and I press download again. And then I'm going to press open in. Now for whatever reason, at least for me, it is not working to press open in downloads. So I'm going to go ahead and press save to files. But I'm going to save it into the downloads because right now when I save it, it's just going to be a how-to directions on how to open it. It's not the actual files itself yet. So I press save. Now I'm going to go back to my home page on my iPad, and I'm going to press this Files application. And now it's linked right here to my downloads. I can see I'm in my downloads and I can access my file, or I can access the file that tells me how to access all the files. Now I'm going to click on this and it's going to give me the password to open all of the files. I am going to pause the recording and pick it back up when I am done, once I've accessed the password. Okay, so now I have copied and pasted the password. So now I can show this part where it says using the password above, click here to access your files. It says leave files and open this link. I'm going to press open. Now I already copied the password above. I'm going to go ahead and paste it and press enter. Now I can see all of the files that I'm going to have access to. It says start here, so I'll go ahead and start here. It is allowing me to copy it to my own Dropbox, so that could be an option as well. I'm going to go ahead and just click each of the PDFs. Press export here at the bottom right, and press save to files. Now, I don't want anything in my downloads now. These are the actual materials. So I'm going to press location on my iPad. And I'm going to create a brand new folder called Gentle and Classical Preschool. So I press plus little folder here, and then I'm going to label this folder Gentle and Classical Preschool and press save. Or actually, I think I need to open it. Now I press save. So this is the start here, printing info, press save. Then I will go back to the document, press cancel. So I'll go ahead and do that with all of these. You could still create little subfolders in your iPad. So say you want to click on Gentle and Classical Preschool and you want to add more files, like maybe I want to have a separate section just for art. You know, I could save that there, and I could have folders inside it as well. So it's really just up to you on how you want to organize it. Now let me find the actual lesson plans. Is this it here? It's 90 pages, so often her teacher's guides are very, very long. There you go. This is where it starts. Yep, so this preschool teacher's guide. And the next video, I'm going to show you how to remove all of these files, because every single day that you're using this, you're going to go into this file and you're going to have to scroll down and see what your lesson plan is if you don't want to print it out. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to remove all of these above pages. That way, whenever you click on your lesson plan, you just go straight to the units that you need to look at with your kids.